Hello, welcome back to the Retro Core channel, and today we're going to take another look at the GPD XD Plus. Now, in the original video, we took a look at this running its stock emulators. We didn't add anything extra or anything fancy. Today, we're going to take a look at the machine when you do take the time out and put some new emulators on it. And now you'll see how much better it actually is. Now you can see here we've got a couple of new emulators on the machine, including a new Sega Saturn emulator. So let's take a look at that first. Now if you remember, on the last video when we did Sega Saturn, it looked absolutely terrible, didn't it? Well, now the games are playable. Let's load up Panzer Dragoon and take a look. Straight away you can see it comes on and it does play the FMV introduction absolutely flawlessly, not a problem. Pressing start takes us to the title screen. So as you can see, the title screen works perfectly fine. Let's get into the game and see how that works. Pressing start. Okay, here we go into the actual game. Will it work? Yes, it works really well. And just look how good the speed is. It's running full speed. Lovely stuff. Okay, so as you can see, Sega Saturn works really well now. Of course, not all games are working perfectly, but they are working a lot better than they were using the emulators we tried last time. How about Sega Dreamcast? Now, if you remember last time, Sega Dreamcast also had a bit of a problem where the games didn't run perfectly good or perfectly well. Let's just turn it down a little bit. Here's Trigger Heart Excelia, and if you remember last time when we played this, it basically crashed as soon as the game started. But the introduction is working perfectly fine here. Let's get into the actual game and see if that works. So let's press the start button. I've got to tell you that this looks really nice on this screen. This is a high definition screen, by the way, 720p. So all those people saying that the PSP or the Nintendo DS is a better solution, well, those machines don't have 720p screens, do they? This does. Here we go, it's working perfectly. This is where they crapped out last time. Let's see if we actually get into the game. Yes, we do. I want to skip this training session. Alright, that looks a little bit funky up there. It doesn't look like that in a real Dreamcast. Alright. And yeah, we are playing. Absolutely no problems at all. Lovely and smooth. And oh, the analog stick is not configured, so we've got to use the D-pad. A little bit of juddering just then, and the screen when the screen transitions to a different area, but nothing too bad. Alright, so how about other Dreamcast games? What about a more demanding game? Let's say a game that uses a lot of polygons. Well, let's take a look at Le Mans 24-hour racing. For that, we're going to use a different Dreamcast emulator. This is Redream before we were using Raycast. Alright, now if you play this game on Raycast, there's a problem with the audio, but if you use it on this emulator, it works just fine. Now some people might be complaining that, you know, you gotta switch emulators, but to be honest, is that really such a big deal? So we'll just jump into a quick race. Now this game is famous for using more polygons than any other Sega Dreamcast game. Oh, we got the analog controls as well. Good. And as you can see, it seems to be working just fine. Whoa, it's pretty tricky to play this game when you're using a thumb pad on a machine which you've got laying on a table. I really should be playing this, you know, by actually holding the console. But we're not playing this video to show my skills, we're playing the video, or we're playing the game I should say, just to see if it works. And as you can see, it works. Alright, how about Street Fighter, because that was all glitched out, wasn't it, last time? Let's check that one out. And I'll tell you what, we'll keep using the same emulator. Okay. As you can see, it's perfectly fine. This is the exact same ROM file or ISO file that we used on the previous video. So it just goes to show you that the built-in emulator wasn't very good. It's pretty hard playing this on the desk. As you can see, it's running at full speed, full screen, full playability. Not a problem. Now, as I said in the last video, these are running 60 frames per second. The video you're watching is 30 frames per second, unfortunately, but at least it's in 4K. Alright, so as you can see, Sega Dreamcast works really, really well now. So, how about other machines? Let's take a look at Nintendo Wii and Gamecube. How is that going to run? Well, unfortunately, not that good actually. I've only got 2 Gamecube games on here. Wii games are going to run just the same since a Wii is basically a Gamecube. Let me show you what F-Zero looks like. And I have customized this emulator to try and get the most out of it. And as you can see, the results are not very good, at least on these 2 games. F-Zero kind of works in a way, but it's completely unplayable. Whereas the Biohazard demo disc, that works better, but I still wouldn't say it was very playable. Anyway, let's take a look at F-Zero GX running on the Gamecube on the GPD. Yep, as you can see, that is completely unplayable. Let's see if we get into the game whether it will be any better. Oops. I doubt it though. Yeah, completely unplayable. But maybe by some miracle it might suddenly speed up once the game starts. Nah, who am I kidding? That's not going to, is it? Let's get out of there. Okay, here we go, taking a look at the Biohazard demo disc. And as you can see, the menu is working perfectly fine. But how about a playable game? Let's check out Resident Evil 4. So as you can see, it is moving a little bit better than F-Zero, but it's certainly not running full speed. And what's kind of odd about this game is because it's actually presented in widescreen, it's actually in this little box here. So with the emulator settings, you could actually zoom this up to full screen. But it might even slow it down more. Just listen to the audio. It's not very good, is it? Alright, let's start the actual game. See if it gets any better. Alright, so we got the analog controls. Both sticks are working fine. Alright, so we have got dual analog controls. That's a good thing. Now if I remember, shoot is... yeah, it's mapped to a trigger button. Yeah. Yeah, that's not moving very well, is it? So as you can see, Gamecube and of course Wii games are not going to work very well on this device. But maybe that was asking a little bit too much. Okay, let's get rid of that. Alright, so how about a bit of Nintendo DS? Let's check it out. So currently I've got this mapped to 2 screens this way. Turn it down a little bit. So you can actually have this played in a vertical orientation, but it's kind of difficult considering this machine has the controls this way. Okay. Of course the touchscreen still works since this is a touchscreen device. And let's get into the game, please. Nope. Nope. Don't want to do that. I don't think I've configured the controls on this one, so we might be stuck here with our touchscreen controls. Okay, I haven't configured the controls on this one by the looks of it, so I can't move anywhere. But as you can see, it's running at the correct speed, and what's really cool, considering this is emulation, we can actually change the screen so the actual in-game playing screen is full screen, so we don't have to look at that horrible map. Okay, select screens, main screen, and let's go back into the game. There you go, look at that. Much better. Now it would be working perfectly fine if I configure the controls, but I haven't done that yet. As you can see, Nintendo 3DS works perfectly fine. Sorry, not Nintendo 3DS, Nintendo DS. Alright, so that's Nintendo DS. How about taking a look at WonderSwan? Let's go with a bit of a Makemura first. Ghosts and Goblins, or Ghouls and Ghosts. Oops. So as you can see, WonderSwan works lovely on this. But not only does WonderSwan work, but also WonderSwan Color. So let's take a look at a WonderSwan Color game. It's got to be done, hasn't it? Now, if you're wondering if the music pausing is part of the emulation being a bit faulty, well, nope, it does that on a real WonderSwan as well. The difference between this and a real WonderSwan though is you can actually see this one in the daylight and in the dark. The original WonderSwan colour screen isn't that good. It's reflective based, so it's not backlit. Come here, you bugger. And keeping with WonderSwan colour, here's Guilty Gear. Fantastic little fighting game this is for the WonderSwan. Right up there with the Neo Geo Pocket fighting games. But arguably looking better. Well, it would be if I could play it, that is. So how about Super Nintendo? Last time we didn't take a look at Super Nintendo. And usually Super Nintendo emulators have big trouble running Super FX games. Well, not this one. Would help if I pressed the right button, wouldn't it? Okay. So let's boot up Super FX game. Let's boot up Doom. Let's see, where's Doom? Here we go, Doom, Super FX 2 game. As you can see, I was playing this before. Now you might be thinking that is running jerky, but in fact, that's what Doom on the Super Nintendo looks like. And it's bloody hard to control because there's no strafing. There we go. God, it's hard to control. Yeah, I use the analog stick, it might be easier. Oh, jeez. I hate playing Doom on the bloody Nintendo. Oh, get that off. Alright. Let's try a different different game, different Super FX game. And there you go, Star Fox is running full speed. Such iconic music. Alright, so Super FX games work, so obviously that means that normal games are going to work too, right? Well, to make sure, let's just quickly try one. Alright, check out the music. Oh, I just really like the music on this game. So nice. Okay, so as you can see, Super Nintendo is working perfectly fine. How about a little bit of Mega Drive? Well, we know Mega Drive is going to work, but sometimes Mega Drive emulators don't work very well. So let's try it out with a Mega CD game first, Final Fight. Turn it down a little bit. Alright, and as you can see, not a problem. Stop punching me, you asshole. And as you can also see, the save states work perfectly fine. So that's a Mega CD game running. How about trying a normal Mega Drive game? No problem. Oops. Exited the emulator by mistake there. Alright. Alright, let's go up into the Mega Drive folder. And what I'll do is I'll put on the beta version of Battlemania, because that is a version of the game that never seems to work properly. Especially on the introduction. And that's working just fine. Title screen works too, no problem. Okay, let's get into the actual game, see if it's nice and smooth. Should be, no reason why it shouldn't be. Yep, lovely and smooth, not a problem. And by the way, that little sound effect you just heard was my phone, so hope you didn't think that was your phone. Okay, but what you want to know is, can it run virtual racing? Well, let's take a look. Yes, yes it can. And you'll also be happy to know that this runs 32X games just fine as well. So yeah, you've got all your Sega bases covered. Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast, Sega Master System also works, Mega Drive, Mega CD and 32X. Lovely. Alright, let's get rid of that and we'll finish up with a little bit of Game Boy and PlayStation. Alright, Game Boy Advance. Let's kick off with a bit of Gradius. So as you can see, I've configured this emulator to work with the D-pad and the digital, with the D-pad and the analog controller. And also, as you can see, Game Boy Advance works perfectly fine, not a problem. Alright, and let's finish off with some PlayStation. Now remember last time we showed Raiden Project and that was working perfectly fine, but we didn't actually show any real 3D games, did we? So let's change that now with a bit of R-Type Delta. Alright, let's get into the game. Oh, bloody hell, dead already. Let's try that again. This time I'll look at the screen instead of looking at the microphone. So I'd say that that's running pretty well, wouldn't you? So there we have it. That is a look at the GPD XD Plus when you put some custom emulators onto it. And as you can see, it looks a lot better than what it does when you just get it out the box. So yeah, out the box, as we saw last time, it's okay. Get your custom emulators onto here. By the way, all these emulators were from the official Play Store as well, so they're not hard to get. But get them on here and you'll find yourself having a much better experience than what you do with the stock machine. So yes, is it worth the money though? Well, that depends if you've got deep pockets or not, but I can tell you now that this emulates more things and better things than any PSP or any Nintendo 3DS or DS can do. So people who are, arguing that, oh, my PSP is better or my DS can do that, blah, blah, blah. Bollocks. They can't. They can emulate some stuff, but not as much as this thing. That's why it costs a lot more money. Show me your PSP or your 3DS emulating Dreamcast. Yeah, you can't, can you? Anyway, they are cheaper machines, but you pay a premium to get a premium bit of emulation in your pocket. Alright, so I'm going to put a link in the video description down below for this device. If you feel like picking one up, then go and treat yourself. Okay, next time on the Retro Core channel, when we take a look at another made in China, we're going to take a look at the RG3000, I think it's called. The new item from the people who brought us the BitBoy. Yep, they made another one. Okay, we'll check that out in the next video coming next week. Until then, take it easy and keep on gaming.